Hello and welcome to another episode of Tiva Drive, and we are back in a Volvo XC60 plug-in hybrid that keeps changing its name. We are back with this car 8 years after it was launched to see how it has changed and how well it's positioned versus its competition. So the car is still 450 horsepower total system power. The battery is 18.8 with 14.4 net available kilowatt hours. The range, officially rated range, is 58 kilometers. And we'll tell you the results of our winter test of this car. What we can mention is that not too many changes have been done to the car. There is a slightly new, the logo has changed a little bit. The grille is a blacked out grille with a different shape now, as well as the badge in the back has changed quite a bit. Now, what has changed is that the base price of the vehicle has dropped substantially. One of the reasons could be that right now this car is being imported from China. So the base price is actually 59 grand, which is the lowest it's been in many, many years. However, this is the top of the line Polestar engineered version, as you will see on the badge in the back. And this car, as you see it here, is $93,000. So it's a $32,000 package. And we'll go over what that package entails and whether it's really worth it in your opinion, because at $93,000 you may as well get the base XC90 plug-in hybrid, which is a much bigger car. In terms of the competition, two of its main competitors from BMW and Audi are no longer around because there's a new generation Q5 and a new generation X3 that just arrived, and they are not available yet in a plug-in hybrid. So the only competition that it has, it's a brand new Mercedes GLC350e plug-in hybrid. So when we take you for a spin in this Volvo, we'll mention the spec comparison and price comparison with the brand new Mercedes. So let's quickly walk around. We won't go inside the car because nothing really much has changed. You have some nice new 21-inch wheels because this is a Polestar engineered version of the car. And of course we're driving in the winter, so it's shod with snow tires, which affects the EV range and performance of the car. The plug-in, the charge port, it's always been here and it's still here on the driver's side in the front, which is different than the pure electric Volvos, which have their charge ports on passenger side rear. And the fuel cap is actually on the other side in the back, so rear passenger side is the fuel refueling cap. So let's quickly just show you the new badge. So remember, this used to be, when it was introduced 8 years ago, it was called a T8. Well, look at that. The T8 badge is back on the Volvo plug-in hybrids, when it was gone for a few years. And there is a large badge here showing you that this is a plug-in hybrid. It's showing you that it's an all-wheel drive. And with the $32,000 package, you get this Polestar engineered badge showing the people that this is a top-of-the-line version of the Volvo XC60. Other than that, it's basically the same car, so we won't bother showing you the trunk or the interior space. But let's jump inside, let's take you for a spin and tell you about the results of our winter test. Okay, so here we are inside a 2025 Volvo XC60 T8 plug-in hybrid, Polestar engineered. And again, the car now starts at a very attractive $59,000, and it comes already pretty nicely equipped, including this opening glass sunroof for the base version. Then you have the two or three other levels, ending with this top-of-the-line Polestar engineered. And even the base car still gets 450 horsepower. The acceleration is slightly worse at around 5 seconds, where this Polestar engineered version is 4.7 seconds. So for $32,000, you get 0.3 seconds improvement in acceleration from 0 to 100. Some of the other things, of course, the nicer wheels, bigger rims, nicer wheels, sports seats with heated, cooled and massaged for both the driver and passenger, nicer interior finishes, etc. The surround view cameras, auto park, autopilot with you know, this lane keep assist, but it's not a hands-free system, as we found out. So some of those things come with the $32,000. But again, in our opinion, once you're going to be paying $93,000 for this, you might as well go for a couple of grand more, go for XC90, base XC90 plug-in hybrid, which is a much bigger car. But at 59 grand, this is a super deal. Of course, plus delivery charges, you're at around $62,000. However, even with the BMW and Audi competition gone, there is a brand new Mercedes which we'll be driving. So we'll do a part 2 to this comparison once we are behind the wheel of the Mercedes, which is a direct competitor to this car. The GLC350e, which just arrived, starting from 64 grand, including destination charge. So it's only 2 grand more than this. The horsepower is less. So this car has, as we mentioned, 450 total horsepower with 4.7 seconds. The Mercedes is only 311 horsepower and 6.5 seconds. So 2 seconds to 100 slower. However, the big difference is the battery size. Here it's 18.8 kilowatt hours gross, 14.4 net. On the Mercedes, it's 24.8 kilowatt hours gross and 23.3 net, giving it a rated range of 89 kilometers for the Mercedes, 58 kilometers for the Volvo. But again, we'll mention to you, let's take you for a spin, put it in B mode. The B mode is, again, one pedal driving, and you can turn off the creep mode or keep it on. Auto hold is there if you need it. The one pedal driving here, as we mentioned in previous reviews of this car, is very strong. So let's show you here. And it comes to a full stop. And it's the only, Volvos are the only plug-in hybrids that have the one pedal driving mode, even when you're in gas mode. Okay, so another winter test for the plug-in hybrid Volvo. This is their best seller. It's been around for 8 years. It's still relevant, still looks good, still has phenomenal specs with its 450 horsepower and 4.7 seconds. However, the battery size, it did change from the early days when it was only 12 kilowatt hours. Now it's 18. But I think that's about it for this generation. I don't think the batteries will get any bigger. They've promised that the XC90 will eventually get bigger batteries, but not this XC60. So after 8 years, most likely there's going to be a new generation coming, and there will be an EX60 pure electric Volvo coming as well. The EX90 just arrived. We should be able to get a full week of testing worth on this car. We drove it already to compare it with the Volkswagen ID Buzz, but it was a very brief half an hour first impression. So the EX90 is here. The EX60 is coming, as is the ES90 sedan, which will be like a pure electric version of the S90 plug-in hybrid that's been sold for quite a few years. So how about the results of our test driving? We took it as usual. We took it up north to our lake house and back. So what we've done this time around is we warmed up the car for over the first 30 kilometers in a hold mode. You can see we have the mode screen here, and you have hybrid, Polestar, pure, off-road, constant all-wheel drive. For battery usage, you have auto, hold, and charge. So there's still a charge mode. Very few of the plug-in hybrids anymore have the e-charge mode. For some reason, they don't offer the e-charge mode anymore. However, many of them now offer fast charging capability, and it's all the main competitor, the Mercedes, does come with a 60 kilowatt DC fast charging capability, which is phenomenal. It's quite good. This car can only be charged from a level 2. Initially, it was available only with a 3 kilowatt maximum level 2 charge speed. Now it's available with 6.6, so it has been improved. But again, some of the other plug-in hybrids can do 7 or even up to 10 kilowatts of level 2 charging speed. However, 6.6 is decent. It's good enough, to be honest, in my opinion. Anyways, the results of our... So we did preheat the car using battery hold mode. We preheated the car and the battery using the engine. The consumption in the battery hold mode on the highway was about 11 liters per 100 kilometers. Then we switched it. We went off the highway 400. We went to highway 27 to do our usual hypermile exercise. And we put it in pure mode. We kept the climate on. We kept the steering heat on. It's a 3-stage steering heat, 3-stage seat heating. You also have, of course, as we mentioned, seat cooling, and you have a seat massage for both front seats. So we put it in the pure mode, and we were able to drive a total of 55 kilometers. The conditions were calm wind, just around freezing mark temperatures, and we were able to do 55, which is less than the rated 58 kilometer range. But keep in mind, this is winter conditions, and we're driving on winter tires, so that does affect the range. I mean, the previous times when we drove this car, we managed to get around 70 in ideal conditions. Excuse me. And so that range is much less than the Mercedes's 89 kilometers range, but it is more than the XC90 53 kilometer range. The XC90 has exactly the same mechanicals inside it, but it's a bigger, heavier car, so it's logical that it gets 5 kilometers less EV range for the bigger car. Yes, so it's still, the answer to the question is still irrelevant. It really depends what you want. The Mercedes gets you way more electric range, but it's not as powerful, not as quick. In terms of the size, we reserve our judgment until we actually put them side by side and we put it to the test in the next few weeks. So stay tuned. We'll do a part 2 of this comparison when we get behind the wheel of the 2025 Mercedes GLC350e plug-in hybrid. So it's up to you. If you want a quick car with very high performance, probably go with the Volvo. If you want the longer range, less fuel consumption, longer range in EV mode, that is, and you don't mind having 2 seconds slower acceleration from 0 to 100, then you would probably go for a Mercedes GLC350e. We're just entering the highway here, so we're gonna show you the Volvo Autopilot. There seems to be lane change assist, but we never were able to actually use it. So let's get up to the highway speed. It's very simple operation. Again, on the wheel here, you just turn on. Let's just get into our lane and just turn it on. There we go. We are at highway speed and it's on. Let's turn it. There you go. So it shows you right here, and on the head-up display, of course, this being a top-of-the-line car, it has a head-up display. The autopilot is on. However, it's not a hands-free system, so the moment you take off your hands, it'll remind you within a few seconds that you should be holding the wheel. Actually, right now it's still not showing it, but there you go, hold steering wheel. And even sometimes, if you're holding the steering wheel, it will still tell you to hold the wheel, which means you have to jerk at the wheel to tell the car that you're holding the wheel. So it's not a perfect system. However, it's pretty good. I know it's been around for a few years. Some of the newer cars have a superior systems right now. Yeah, it's still a pretty good system. It's still a competitive car, and especially with a starting price of 59 grand, it's a very attractive proposition. Actually, there's a GLC just behind us. Interesting. So yeah, that's the competition. And in part 2, in a few weeks, we'll give you our full impressions of the new GLC plug-in hybrid. So that's about it for us today for this review. Thank you for watching. As usual, don't forget to press the subscribe button on our channel to be informed when the next one is coming. There are lots more reviews of pure electric and plug-in hybrid cars. And as usual, we have to thank our sponsor, Condos and Castles Realty. You can find them at www.condosandcastles.com. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you at the next review.